Hello, everybody. It's Stephen and Walter here for another edition of So Chatty for June the 3rd, 2022, and it is episode 61. And we don't have a whole lot this week to talk about. We were kind of stretching here. That's why you can see that the title for this is called Mishmash, a Mishmash of Things. So we'll just go with the flow and see what happens. So, what are you working on?
Well, I was finishing this shirt. Actually, I don't really have it finished because I was going to put a pocket on here, but I haven't done that yet. Other than that, it seems to fit okay. I like it.
And what else do you have?
Upcoming, I have a pair of I have a shorts class coming up, and I have yet to cut out the fabric. So that's coming on Monday. I started it. It's going to be a pair of linen lined shorts.
Linen line.
No, that's not lined by linen. It's linen outside and lined. It has a lining in it.
Well, you said linen line shorts, so...
Yeah, they're lined shorts.
Okay, but it could have meant linen line.
No, they're not linen lined.
I mean, you did say, I made a pair of linen shorts, which
Actually,
are
I'm
lined.
not too thrilled about it because
What?
I don't think I would ever buy a pair of linen shorts.
No. Well, isn't linen supposed to wrinkle really bad?
Yeah, well, this stuff does wrinkle because I did wash it. So,
I don't iron anything.
yeah, I know. Well, the teacher says basically you wash it and hang it to dry or whatever. So, I don't know. To me, that's too much work.
Yeah. I don't know. How popular are linen clothing for men these days?
I don't know.
At one point in time, I think linen's supposed to be like a summery kind of thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
supposed to be cooler
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think in the 1940s and the 50s, like a really nice pair of dress pants for the summer would be made from linen, at least according to the old movies. It always seemed to be that way. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had anything made with linen.
I think I had a pair of linen pants a long time ago, and I got PO'd with it.
It always seems that your instructor comes up with some...
Yeah, he has all these new different types of ideas, and to make things out of different kinds of materials. And
well, I guess he's being creative.
I thought to myself, well, I don't really want a pair of linen shorts, but I think I'm taking a class anyway just to learn how to do it if I ever have to do it again. So,
well, I suppose at least he's offering something that's not maybe necessarily the same old. So, I guess
why he's the type of guy that likes to stand out in the crowd type of thing. So I think his idea is to make clothes that you can't buy off the rack, right? So that he can stand out like a light bulb.
Yeah, well, okay, teach his own, whatever. So, linen shorts, you've got this shirt to finish. Whatever happened to that jacket you were making?
Well, I started it, and I'm not happy with the fabric that I've got as the exterior, so I have it sort
was
of
that stuff that was like nylon?
Yeah,
what
it's
was
like
it you
nylon.
called it?
It was suggested to use a nylon ripstop, and I've got nylon ripstop, but I don't like it.
Rip stop?
Yeah, it's like the stuff ski jackets are made out
but
of.
that's what they call it. Rip stop.
It's called ripstop. What it is if you look carefully at the fabric, it's got a stitching pattern that's like a little cross, right? And the idea is that if it begins to rip, it won't rip any further.
Oh, so thus the name Rip Stop. Okay. Garment sewers. Yeah.
So I haven't decided whether I want to finish it, go to the extreme of finishing it in that fabric, or switching it out sometime to another kind of fabric and doing it something else. Because I saw some examples that were there that weren't nylon ripstop, but at the time I'm thinking the pattern says you should get nylon ripstop for the exterior shell, right? And so I went out of my way to get ripstop, but then the instructor had all these examples of the same pattern that he used with different fabrics that I liked much more.
Oh. Okay. Well, whatever. Well, you got to finish it. You started it.
Well, yeah, I started it, but I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it.
Oh.
We'll see.
Well,
right now it's not jacket weather
no,
anyway. So.
Yeah, but at the rate you go,
yeah, I know.
maybe jacket weather in 2 years' time.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But whatever. Well, so any other little projects?
No, I
Anything
still
else you
have
got?
some other shirts that I want to do. I've got them all cut out. I just have to sew them together.
Oh, story of your life. Got them all cut out, got to sew them together. Yeah. Well, talking about not finishing a project, I am telling you that I have had nothing but hell on so many different levels with that Northcott pattern for with glowing hearts quilt. I've talked about it before. I was having trouble with my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Well, that wasn't Northcott's fault or the pattern's fault. That was my fault, but I solved that problem. But this stupid pattern, I made block number 3 the other day. And if any of you were on Craft and Chat, that's what I was working on. And you know what the end result was, which again was my fault for that. But trying to figure out how to put these triangles together, this is what it was made up of, triangles, not half square triangles. Triangles in a row, one point goes down, one point goes up. And it gave you instructions on how to get it so you had the right seam allowance on, how to line them together. And it didn't make any sense to me what they were trying to explain. And that was all they told you. I eventually figured out my way of doing it, and it was an annoying way to construct it. And I'm thinking to myself, there's got to be a better way to do it. Well, I got the block together, I got these strips that had to go around a square in the center. And it said to pull out one of the squares that I'd already cut out of my bag, and I pulled it out and went, wait, this is not going to work. This square is too small. And then I realized the stupid triangles were supposed to be cut out of a square, but no, I just diagonally cut them. They were supposed to be diagonally cut both ways, so you got 4 triangles out of a square, not 2. So I thought, this is it. This is the last straw with this bloody quilt. I am not enjoying this. It's driving me nuts. So I'm just going to do my own thing with it. So I'm just going to turn my computer a bit so you can see what my own thing is, part of it. So that's going to be sort of my own thing. It's not done yet. I haven't got the other side. I've been playing around with the sides of it and things like that. I've had to try and make things fit. And you see that one panel on the side? It's kind of boring. It's just red and black fabric. Well, there's little maple leaves in the fabric. And I thought of other blocks to put down there, but then I'm thinking it'll be too busy. And then I'm thinking, well, when I quilt it, I have the idea that I would like to use a maple leaf quilt design, because I know there's one I can get my hands on. And I thought that might look good on it. And so that area that's on that side would all be filled in with the quilting. So sort of my negative space, which I think would look okay. And it would show up, depending on the color that I use, pretty good on that. So I've got to put a border on it yet too. Well, those pieces are not sewn together. The one in the center is. That one big long piece in the very center, from top to bottom, that's all sewn together. Now I've got to add these panels that I'm doing from side to side. You can't see the bottom of it, but there's more of it. I don't know. I'm trying to use up the fabric that I bought for this, repurpose it. I'm trying to use the panel that came with this that you were supposed to cut up. That's where you see the love with the maple leaf and the Canadian flag with the maple leaf and the black maple leaf. Those are cut out of the panel. That was part of the process. I'm just not happy with this, but I am not going to stop. I'm going to finish this damn thing. And yeah, because I hate leaving something undone. But it has been nothing but a pain in the ass. And then guess what I found on YouTube last night? Let's get around that. Northcott has posted, the person who designed this particular pattern, she's doing a block by block tutorial on how to put it together. And I found out something else that's interesting too. That one block I just mentioned, block 3, it also had mitered corners. Now I've done mitered corners before, but I'm reading her instructions. Her instructions are as clear as mud. On her video, she was using a special little ruler to make life so much easier for putting the mitered corners together.
And there's no mention of using that ruler?
Not a word. not a word in the pattern. So if I see this lady's name on any patterns in the future, I will not be purchasing them. And I could tell you who it is, but it's all piled up over there. I think it's Patty. Patty of Patchwork Quilts. Something like that. Patty Patchwork. Something like that. Anyways, I will not be buying one of her patterns again. Because obviously, they leave things out. It would have made life so much easier if, one, I had known that there was going to be video tutorials, and two, that I had the equipment that I needed for it, which it never talked about.
Plus, on one of her videos, when we were watching it, she was sewing down one edge at 3/8 of an inch and another edge at 1/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's very inconsistent.
Well, there's a mention about that in the instructions for putting these triangles together. But it doesn't make sense. Like, the instructions don't make sense. I read them and read them and read them and read them. And the little diagram they've got is as clear as mud, too. So, not what in my opinion, not a good pattern designer. And if you want us to use special tools, then tell us what we need. Like, would have made life easier. Anyways, I am going to persevere. I hate this quilt. And I'm going to call it my Oh Canada piece of shit quilt when I'm done with it. Like, oh my God quilt. OMG, whatever. So, yeah, that was frustrating. It still is frustrating. So, speaking of frustration, I'm still having a fun time getting used to my new computer, my Mac. Oh, is it just me, or do people who go from PCs often go through this? Now, Walter's going to say, I never had any problem, and I went.
No, I had a learning curve too, but you want everything to work exactly the way you want it to work right away.
Yes, I do. I paid the money. It's my computer. I
you
want
need
it
to
work
learn
the
a
way
new system.
I don't have to. It needs to learn me.
Fine.
It's all about me. It's an inanimate object. It's all about me. I am still smarter than the average machine. Believe it or not. I will get it, but I just find there's things about it that could have been designed differently. That seems to be the problem I'm having with a lot of designers these days. Pattern designers, computer designers. I don't know. Whatever. So, someone asked me the other day, moving on here, if I was still loving my AccuQuilt. I think it was somebody on the Craft and Chat. And I said, yeah. And I am. I use it quite a bit, especially when it comes like for standard size pieces. Anything in 1/8 of an inch, forget it. Because AccuQuilt does not do 1/8 of an inch on anything. And I don't think designers of patterns should use 1/8 of an inch either. I mean, what's that? What's the logic behind, like, when you're sewing stuff, what are your measurements primarily in? I know you do a 3/8 or 5/8 seam allowance, but what are pattern pieces? What's the measurements for things?
Well, measurements are, you just have a pattern piece and you follow the pattern piece to cut it. If you're out 1/8 of an inch, it won't kill it.
Well, unlike quilting, it will. So now I understand why people I talked to before, when I said I would never do garment sewing, and they said, why? And I said, because I think it's too precise. And they say, and you quilt? And then they'd say, oh, they'd never quilt because it's too precise. I think I understand now. Yeah, quilting is much more precise sewing than garment sewing. I mean, you have wiggle room in garment sewing. You don't have a lot of wiggle room in quilts. In fact, very little, like none. With it. If you're out by 1/8 of an inch, it multiplies and you may never recover from it. So I don't understand why, if people want to produce a pattern that they want it to be popular, why they would insist that you cut something at 2 7/8 of an inch or 2 3/8 of an inch. Like, why can't it all be in 1/4 inches and 1/2 inches? They'll all work mathematically. And
well, it sounds to me like they've put something together and they're translating it into a pattern.
Yeah, that could be what it is. Well, Electric Quilt does that. When you put something into electric quilt and you're playing around on the design feature of it, and you're dropping a block here and a block here, and when you're all finished, you go in and you have it print out your pieces, the dimensions. Electric quilt will give you everything in eighths of an inch many times over. I know that there's a reason for eighths of an inch. If you're doing half square triangles, and if you're not doing it in the method where you're putting two squares on top of each other, drawing a line down the diagonally and then sewing a 1/4 inch seam on either side, when you do that, when you open it up, your half square if you were just to do it with the triangles alone to get that, say, a 2.5 inch half square triangle, your triangles do have to be in eighths of an inch. So that's what they're doing in these patterns. They're not telling you do this method for doing a half square triangle and then trim it up. And I have yet to see a ruler for trimming up half square triangles, like the fancy rulers you can get for doing that you put on the seam allowance, and you just trim around, you get your perfect half square triangle. I haven't seen any of those marked in eighths of an inch. They're all in 1/4 of an inch, half an inch markings. I think it behooves designers of patterns not to think about the equipment that's available. Like, get with the program. I don't know. Of course, there's probably some of you out there that are, much more advanced quilter than I am, and you probably already, oh, no, if you're advanced, you know how to do this, and it just works fine, and it's much more precise, and you should do that. Like I said about the Mac computer, I do my thing. So be it. Anyways, about to the AccuQuilt. Am I still loving it? Yes, I am. Excuse me. Frog in my throat. And I try to use it as much as I possibly can as well, because it does make short work of cutting anything that's a standard size out. Your long strips, your squares, your half square triangles. Now, it does have square triangles where it cuts out the triangles and you attach them to another piece that has the edges cut off it already, so you don't have to trim it. And they make it work. And so if I want to, like in that quilt I just showed you, I did some flying geese in there, and unfinished 6.5 by 3.5 inch flying geese, finished 3 inch by 6 inch. AccuQuilt, not a problem. Not a problem. Zip right through those in no time. No lines to have to be drawn, no extra trimming to do. Works fine. That and alone is worth the price of it, I can tell you. Yeah, so I still like it. I think it's a good system. And I'm waiting for a major sale so I can get the 5-inch cube. Like I need more. Yes, I do. Okay, so we did do something this week, and I'm going to insert a little video in here in just a second. We did a little mini road trip. We decided we needed to get out, but where to go? Didn't know really where to go with this. So we went
just a road trip to an outlying area from where we live, and we were trying to decide where to go because we've been all those places.
Yeah, we've been to the other places too, and none of them are that exciting. But we decided to go north, and not far north. We went to Finland Falls. Finland Falls is in Ontario. It's about, I don't know, how far away is it from us? How long did it take us to get there?
About an hour? I don't know.
Maybe about an hour. Not really very far away. Actually, my sister's, she goes up to Finland Falls, she and her husband and family, a lot because her in-laws have a cottage there's a lake up there called Lake Scugog. And
Lake Scugog is Port Perry.
Oh, what lake's this one on?
This one is Cameron Lake. Their cottage is on Cameron Lake. And the lake, there's 2 lakes next to each other. And Finland Falls is in the middle of the 2 lakes, right?
So one is Cameron.
One is Cameron, and the other one's Sturgeon.
Sturgeon. I knew it started with an S.
Right, Sturgeon Lake. And actually, up in northern Ontario, just north of us, there are a series of smaller lakes, smaller than the Great Lakes, obviously. And a lot of these lakes are populated with cottages around them and we call it cottage country.
Yeah, cottage country.
Right. So there's little towns in between the lakes, and Fenelon Falls is at the join of Lake Sturgeon and Cameron Lake. So, and the little falls that they have are little tiny falls. And there's, I'm not sure, is Cameron Lake lower or higher than Sturgeon Lake? I can't remember how the locks went.
I don't know either.
Anyway, one of the two lakes is higher than the other one. So that creates the falls at Fenelon Falls. And they also have a lock there so that boats that are going from one lake to the other get raised or lowered to the height of the other lake.
The lock.
Yeah.
And when they call it a falls, it's not much of a falls, but it's big enough that a boat would not be able to navigate it. But we're not talking Niagara Falls here. We're talking a trickle.
Yeah, we're talking maybe 10-foot falls. I don't
know if it would be 10 feet. I don't know with that. But anyways, actually, you'll see the lock in the little video clip I'm going to insert here in a second of that. But while we were there, we decided had lunch at looked like a very popular spot called Murphy's. It was a pub, sort of Irish pub kind of place. And I don't have any shots of lunch. I did take a couple, but I cut them out of the video because there was background music playing and it'll get demonetized if it picks it up. So wasn't anything too exciting anyways. You'll see the outside of it in the video. And there was a little quilt store in this town as well called the Little Wee Quilt Shop. And it was little and it was wee, and we're going to talk more about that as well. And then after we left Fenelon Falls, we were traveling back home and we stopped at another town a little closer to us called Lindsay. And there is a fairly substantial quilt store in that town. I've ordered from them online before, but I've never actually been in the store, called Appleseed Quilt Works. And so you'll hear that mentioned in the video as well. But when we come back, we'll come back from after the video and talk a little bit about those two stores in a little bit more detail on what we bought and what we thought about them. So I'm going to put that little clip of our road trip in here right now. So we decided today that we're going on a road trip. And so we're heading towards a place called Fenelon Falls, which I don't think I've ever been to Fenelon Falls. Have you ever been to Fenelon Falls?
A couple of times when I was a kid.
Oh, well, that was ancient history.
People that I used to live next door to my parents had a cottage near there.
Yeah, well, that's where my sister's in-laws have a cottage in that area as well, too. So we're going up there, and there's a place called Murphy's Pub or something. We might have lunch there. Look around. There's even some, it looks like there might be one or two quilt stores up there as well. Check that out, and then come back down to Lindsay, which is south of that. These places are all north of us. And it's a really nice day today, too. It's about, what's your car temperature said?
28 degrees.
28 degrees. And yeah, we needed to get out, so we're getting out. And this is the metropolis of Fenelon Falls, famous for its falls, which are probably down there, and probably not much to see. It's basically a dam. A dam.
Turn left, then turn right.
Sure.
Water Street, no, keep going. I think at the lights. Anyways, we're in the downtown core. Never been here before. Does that look exciting? It's supposed to be a quilt store somewhere here. It's on wherever, I'm not sure. To look it up, but anyways.
Here's the cow.
So this is Fenelon Falls. That's where we just had lunch over there. And down here is the waterway, and this is part of the Trent Severn Canal system that basically bypasses the Great Lakes and goes across, well, a fair amount of Ontario. And the lock is down there where that yellow bridge is. And we'll walk down towards that area. So this is what a lock looks like. You can see it's closing up at that end there. And it's closed here. And of course, you drive your boat into one of these, and the water levels out to the next level. And then they open it up and you carry on down the way you go. So this is the little wee quilt shop that they have here. Looks wee, that's for sure. And we're going to go inside, but I probably won't take any video inside because, you know, you never know how these people feel about you taking video inside your stores and things like that. So we'll see what we'll see. So this is the downtown part. Not huge, but it's quaint. There's Walter standing on the corner. Interesting restaurant over there called Cow and Sow. Kind of a cute name. Ooh, Great Finds Markets. Looks like a charity shop. What's that? The
LGBTQ map thing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, this seems to be a community that very much supports the LGBT community, because we've seen signs of that everywhere in here. Just very quaint. Okay, so you know you're in Canada, in a small town, when there's a moose on the street. Not a real moose, but it's a moose. Oh my God, another moose. 2 moose sightings in one day. This one moves. So, that was our little venture into the little town of Finland Falls. About 2,500 people of permanent residents, but it's a real cottage area up there, and I think it swells in the nicer weather and on the weekends, of course, as well. But anyways, what did we buy? Well, we went to the little wee quilt shop, and I bought 3 meters of backing fabric, which I could use or not use. There wasn't much of a selection of fabrics really there, although the prices weren't bad. Walter bought 3 meters of a batik, didn't
No,
you?
actually I bought 2 meters and a bit because that was all that was left on the bowl.
Oh, and how much was it?
It was $15 a meter. So
Well,
which is
those are
pretty
Shirley
good.
prices.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too bad. I bought a couple of patterns as well for a bag and a pillow that uses the little twister ruler, which I happen to have, and I have made something using that ruler before. If you remember my gnome table runner that I made some time ago, that was before Christmas, I used that little specialty ruler with it. I actually have 2 of those rulers because I didn't realize that one came with the pattern. These ones didn't though, and the lady at the store there made sure that I knew that you needed the tool. And I said, yep, I've got the tool, not a problem. So thank you very much. Was it worth the drive to Finland Falls to go to that quilt store? Well, we didn't go to Finland Falls just for the quilt store. That was a
It
side
was
line.
fun because we had never been, well, not that we'd never been there, but I went there as a kid, but I haven't gone there since.
Yeah, well, I don't think I've ever been to Finland Falls. So anyways, it was interesting to see. We had a nice enough lunch, I guess. I'm kind of stuffed right now from what I had. Not used to eating that much at lunchtime. And yeah, so now we're on our way to another little town called Lindsay, which is sort of on the way home. We have been to Lindsay before, and I've been there in a long time.
No, it's another place that's fairly close to where we live, but it's one of those places that
You just
never
don't
seem
know.
to go to.
No. So there is a quilt store there called Appleseed, which I have bought things from them before. I've never actually been in their store, but I've bought some of their things online, and I think they made an appearance at a couple of shows pre-COVID days that I bought some things from them there as well. So we'll check them out and see what they're all about. So I just realized I didn't take really any shots of downtown Lindsay, but we didn't spend that long there. We just went into Appleseed Quilt Works, the quilt store there. We bought a few things. Prices there were a little on the high side, but then everything is right now. It's really hard to judge anymore prices on fabric. And
Well, it was weird because when we went to that little place in Finland Falls, it was the stuff I bought was $15 a meter, and then this place it was $21.99 a meter.
well,
so
for what you
22,
bought,
yeah.
but what I bought was $18.99 a meter.
Yeah, and there was
So-
another one that I picked up that was $23.99.
Yeah, so they're all over the place. So I don't know what governs that. So I bought a little kit for a table runner there, a couple of meters of some fabric, and I bought a Dresden ruler. That all came to $101. right there, so it doesn't take much. Would I make the drive to Lindsay to go to that particular store? Well, it's a nice store inside, but
their stuff wasn't really exceptional.
no, they were pretty conservative in what they were.
I mean, what I got was something that was a little bit more unique, but it wasn't. I had to sort of look for it, so.
Yeah, I know, it wasn't really what I would say worth the drive. If you lived in the area, fine. But no, maybe it's just I have so much bloody fabric anymore that nothing really grabs me.
We're getting picky.
Yeah, we're getting picky. It has to really stand out anymore. And, well, whatever. Well, yeah, but it was a nice day out. The weather's nice. It's hot, actually.
It's 31 degrees now.
But 31 now. So yeah, it's definitely a hot day, and it's just good to get out, clear my head. And it's been so full of working with the Macintosh, the Mac, and everything that yeah, needed a little time out. Except I still feel bloated from lunch.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, so that gave you an idea of our little road trip that day and everything. It was a nice day. It was good to get out.
It was very warm.
Yeah, it was very, very warm. It's like, what, 30?
It was around 30 degrees Celsius. Which is, I'm not sure, 90
Well, it's about 90,
I think.
roughly 88 to 90, something Fahrenheit, but whatever. So we did go into this little wee quilt shop, small place, not a lot of selection,
no.
but prices were pretty good. You bought what, almost 3 meters? Well, it's 2 point something because you bought to the end of the bolt. But what did she charge you for that? It was 15. Did you say $15 a meter?
It was $15 a meter. I was actually pretty good. I bought the end of the bolt. It was just slightly over 2 meters. And
she didn't give you a discount on the end of the bolt?
No, not really.
A lot of places do.
Well, it was 15. It came out to $33.
For
Well, mind you, that included tax. So she just charged me for the 2 meters, I think.
Yeah, sounds like so. In a sense, you did get a bit of an extra discount.
Yeah, so yeah, that was pretty good.
And they had a lot of boutiques, but it was boutiques.
Yeah.
In fact, most of their stuff is boutiques.
No, they had a couple of shelves of regular fabric, but they didn't have a lot of selection, and the store was quite small inside. So, and she did have a handy quilter in the back and everything too. So
the lady that was there, I don't know if she's the owner or whatnot. She was okay.
Yeah, I think she was a little bit surprised that 2 guys came.
Yeah, I think she kept forgetting this is a little town. There's only about 2,500 people in this town. Permanent residents. It swells the summer. I think I said that on the videotape, or in the video of it. But anyways, I bought some wide back fabric. Wide back was, I forget what I paid for it.
I think it was 27.
I think, yeah, which was,
Yeah.
It's okay. It's very hard to determine if prices are good anymore because they're all over the place wherever you go. But I bought that, and there were a couple of patterns there for those twisters. Yeah, actually, just grab those. Happen to have them here. You just hold those up, and one's for a bag and one's for a pillow. Now she said to me, do you realize that these take a special tool? And I said, yeah, I did. I said, I already have it because I made, if you remember back at last year, just before Christmas, I made a table runner that used the little twister ruler, and it makes those patterns that look like windmills turned on a diamond. And I thought, well, those were okay. They weren't expensive. I thought there might be something, a nice little diversion to make those. And I want some new pillow slips anyways for the cushions on our couch in the rec room, because those ones I got on there I made when I first started making quilts, and I don't like them. I don't like them anymore. Don't like that. No, but yeah. So anyways, that's what I purchased there. And then we went down to Lindsay and we went to Appleseed Quilt Works. Now, very nice store inside.
It's a very nice store. It's big. It's got lots of selection.
Yeah.
Their prices are high.
Yeah, very high. Like $23 a meter for some things. Although it varied because you bought some fabric there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and I think it was 21 a meter.
And I bought some fabric too, but mine was only $18.99 only a meter for it there. And I bought, can you reach over there, that kit underneath those things you just had here?
This one?
Yeah, I bought this. This was a whim. It had stars on it. It's a table runner. It's a kit. Turned it around so you can see. So there's all the fabrics that go in it. I just thought it was there. I felt like spending money, so I did. And it wasn't all that expensive, $35 for it also. Yeah, it's called Desert Stars. And the fabric that comes with it is not that fabric they're showing there.
No.
But that's okay. I don't care. I may, if I get through this monstrosity that's on the wall behind me, maybe I'll do that just to clear my mind out. I have a couple of other projects I've already started too, but I haven't gotten very far on them. And that's a problem. I don't like to do multiple projects at a time because you never seem to get ahead of it when you do that. You don't seem to have accomplished anything. We'll just ask you. You've got how many shows?
I also noticed that her thread selection, she had Metler thread, not big spools, small spools, and she had Orfill thread, but her price on Orfill thread was quite expensive.
Do you remember what it was?
It was $17.99 for a spool of Orfill.
That's on the upper end.
Which is pretty expensive, I think.
Because I think the average price on Orfill, when I look around, is about 15.
Yeah.
In fact, 14.99.
15 Canadian
maybe
dollars.
15.99. Yeah, well, we're Canadian, so that's
Yeah.
what
So I thought that was pretty pricey.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been there for a long time, though, I think. And I have seen them at shows way back when you first got into quilting, and we went to some shows, you know, and things like that. And but I wasn't overly excited.
There were some, I did buy a little bit of material there. There was some stuff that was a little bit more unique compared to other places that I saw. A lot of the same material though, that you see everywhere else. And like compared to our local quilt shop, they were quite pricey. So
yeah, but you know, we're saying about nothing was really grabbing us. I have found, and I think it's not so much what these places stock as much as it's me. We have a lot of fabric.
Yeah. And there isn't anything else that's that unique that really catches my eye.
No, nothing that's making me go, oh my God, I have to have meters of it. So it's probably more us. Maybe that's why I'm not as excited. And I have this fear that I'm losing my interest in quilting.
Uh-oh.
I can't.
Long arm.
It's just been very frustrating. I don't know what it is. It's been my mood for the last month. Maybe you're right. We need to go away.
Yeah, I think
we need to change the scenery. Something like a major change of scenery. Because I'm just feeling stagnant. Nothing's really getting me excited. And I need excitement in my life. So I don't know. We'll see. No, I'm not really losing my interest in quilting. I'm just, everything I touch, I don't seem to be able to sew properly lately. And I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it's because I know more about it now and I didn't realize before that I was screwing up and I thought it was okay. And now it's like, is it worthy to put on Lucy? You know, I don't know. But anyway, so we had craft and chat. That was fun. It's always fun. I liked it. Although it was very low key. Not that it's really rambunctious.
Yeah, there wasn't any major conversation.
No, everybody was working. I guess everybody was just, had our nose to the grindstone. Everybody was just working away. So, which was unusual, which I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing because we had a couple of new people that had never been there before. And so I don't know if they'll ever come back again. They might have thought, oh, you guys are boring, or something like that. But usually we have like a lot of chatter going on, enough where I usually start to make mistakes because I'm listening to what's being said and I don't concentrate on what I'm making. And well, I still made mistakes, but it wasn't because of the chatter that I made them. Yeah, I don't know. And there wasn't anything that came out that was really new, that I learned anything. Just trying to think. Usually I learn something. Somebody usually tells me something I didn't know. And
anyway, maybe we're running out of things that are new.
Or maybe I know everything now. That was said with tongue in cheek. So, but anyways, it was still nice to have it. And that brings me up to another thing. As a couple of people were asking about pop-up sew days at the Craft and Chat. I haven't had one, what, in a few weeks? When was the last one I had? I think I had it the weekend before the long weekend in May.
So, you had one at the beginning of May because that was the day that I was taking a class.
That's right. It was the first Saturday in May I had it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had that. It was something like the 7th
so
or
it's
8th
been a
or
month.
something.
It's been a month or so since I've had a pop-up sew day. So I may have one again soon, but what I'm concerned about is, are they really interested in pop-up sew days in the summer? Because I know summer, if you have a cottage, you might be going off to your cottage or anything like that. I mean, I would have it because for me, because it's all about me. But whatever. But I'm just curious. If you let me know in the comments or something, is summer the bad time to have pop-up sew days, or do you think it doesn't really matter, or whatever? Just out of curiosity to know. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to have them. I just don't know when I'm going to have them. And I am working on something coming up, and I was hoping I'd have something to report on this, but I got my times mixed up for the meeting. I thought I had a meeting at 1 o'clock, a Zoom meeting with Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore. You've heard me talk about Brenda's YouTube channel before and interview her, and a few other quilt-related YouTube people. And they want to do this International Sew Day. We were going to talk about when and how it was going to work. They had one before, and I was part of it then, but I was part of it as a participant. Brenda asked me to come on as a co-host for this one as well, along with other ones. So we were supposed to talk about it, but it turns out that meeting's not till 3 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock her time. Brenda's the hosting this because she's out in Calgary, and so it's mountain time there. But usually Zoom link though automatically changes it for you when you go in it, but it didn't this time for some reason. So yeah, I didn't look at it. I just assumed and shouldn't have done that. But anyways, I did run into a person who I'm in the process of negotiating an interview with. And if any of you have ever watched, it doesn't exist anymore, but when I first got into quilting a few years ago, I used to watch this faithfully. It was called Stitch TV. And Lynn, and I forget what the other lady's name was, used to do a weekly kind of show out of their home, a podcast sort of a thing. And I always liked it because I always learned quite a bit from it, and it was sort of like what we're doing right now. It was very conversational, kind of chatty, kind of a thing. But they stopped doing that for one reason or another, and so this was Lynn. She's going to be, I think, part of the Sew International Day, I think, or International Sew Day. But anyway, she gave me her email address so I can send her my interview questions and we could set it up. And her email address bounced back right after. So I'm hoping she's going to be on in this meeting to check it out. But she does have a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel is called, can you reach my yellow notes up there, please? That's what I wrote it down. Thank you very much. Glad to have a servant. Cotton Art Studio. That's the YouTube channel. So this is one I haven't seen, so I'm going to go and check that out later today as well. And maybe I'll find her email address in there too, because I don't know why it bounced back. It looked right to me, what she gave me, but anyways, I'll get that figured out. So that's good. Potential interview coming up. Yeah, kind of a short one today because we didn't have much.
No.
Oh, another thing I was thinking of too, because I see that some YouTube content creators do this on a semi-regular basis. They'll take one episode and dedicate it to answering to a Q&A. So I wouldn't mind giving that a try for So Chatty. So if you guys got questions, anything about quilting, about general sewing, about setup, about sewing machines, about whatever, if you want to put them into the comments below after you see this week, then we'll see how many questions we get from that, and maybe next episode we'll dedicate to, or most of it to, Q&A. We'll see. So you can check that out and let us know. Put it in the comments. Okay, I'm starting to ramble because I have other things to say. All right, I think it's a good time to say goodbye. So thanks for joining us today. Sorry that today was a bit of a mishmash, but you were warned about that. And yeah, hopefully next week we'll have something a little bit more interesting for you. Okay, see you then. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.